Hey, what's up and welcome back to Fiverr Talks. This is a very exciting, a very busy, and a very stressful week for many of you, but it's leading up to a time of hopefully a little bit of rest as we approach Christmas and the end of the year. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, this is the time of the year when many of our gigs, much of our traffic actually slows down, and we're going to answer the age-old question, do I put my gigs on vacation mode or find some alternative for taking time off that might not affect my gigs so negatively? Today we're going to talk about exactly that in this video, alternatives to vacation mode on Fiverr. So stick around and make sure you watch the entire video to get every tip. That's right, today we're talking about alternatives to the vacation mode, and in a second I'll tell you why. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Joel. I've been a top-rated seller on Fiverr since 2013, Fiverr seller DJ Young, and over that time I have taken a great deal of time off. Probably not as much time off as I should have, but I've taken time off in many different ways, different lengths of time, and I've handled it different ways on Fiverr, so I've got a kind of a depth of experience when it comes to this topic, and yet it's still the number one question that people ask me. Do I put my gigs in vacation mode when I go out of town, when I celebrate a holiday, when I take a week off, or do I make some other kind of alternative arrangement? We don't want to be bothered by them when we're not working. We don't want to be driven crazy by this process of selling on Fiverr, but we also don't want to come back and find our business lying on the ground at the bottom of the search results. I'll tell you from my own personal experience, for many years, for several years, I put my gigs in vacation mode every time I went out, whether it was for a weekend, 3-4 days, or 7+ days. I would put my gigs on vacation mode. I wouldn't answer any inbox messages, and back then they weren't tracking 24-hour turnaround time on responses, and you didn't have a rating, so it was a different time. But when I did this, I found that my gigs, every time I came back, were sitting lower in the search results than they were when I left. Probably because there was a period of time which I wasn't responding to messages, delivering work, getting reviews, all things like that. And because when you go on vacation mode, your gigs are removed from search results. And so people might assume, hey, maybe they're not on the platform anymore. I can't find them. Maybe returning customers were looking for you and just couldn't find you. All these different things. And so I became very suspicious that vacation mode was affecting my gigs negatively. And this was 5+ years ago. So at that point, I decided to come up with an alternative method for planning my time off that didn't take me out of the search results, didn't even need to answer the question, do I use vacation mode, do I not, and just allowed me to have the same kind of time off, but with a different effect to my Fiverr gigs. Now, I'll say up front, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do this today, as long as you have tested the method and see the effects that it has on your gig. I know many of you use vacation mode, maybe weekly, some of you say, to take time off on the weekends or just little stints, and I want to hear about that. Can you tell me down below? This is the question of the day. Tell me down below how you use vacation mode. Do you ever use it? When you use it, how long do you typically use it? When you get back, what kind of effects do you see it having on your gigs, if any? I want to hear those things from you, because I haven't used vacation mode in many years for this reason. I don't want it to have an effect on my gigs, and I think that there's a better way for me, but I know that everybody's a little different, everybody's business is a little different, and so today I'm going to share these tips on alternatives to vacation mode. And the key to not using vacation mode is to essentially plan out your schedule very carefully external from Fiverr, meaning that you don't allow projects or gigs just to roll in, that you actually manage things in the week leading up to some time off and then the weeks coming out of time off. So I'm going to use a hypothetical gig situation for you to explain what I do. The alternative to using vacation mode is manipulating your turnaround time. That's what we're going to call it. It's the turnaround time manipulation method. Ooh, I just made that up. That's really good. Turnaround time manipulation method. And what you do is the weeks leading up to, or maybe the week leading up to your time off, you crank your turnaround time up. So let's just say hypothetically you have a gig that has a 7-day turnaround time with maybe like a 3-day extra fast option for people. In the week leading up to your time off, let's say you're going to take 7 days off, you would need to turn your turnaround time up to 14 days, so that anybody that ordered a week before your time off, their order didn't come due until you were back from your time off 14 days from that day. See what I mean? Any custom offers you'd bring in, you could send them for extra time. And therefore, you could really kind of manipulate that turnaround time each day. You could leave it at 14 days for 2 or 3 days, then you could knock it down to 12 for a couple of days, then you could knock it down to 10. Give yourself some buffer when you get back, but essentially manipulate the turnaround time on your gig so that nothing is due during that time you are off or not working on Fiverr. Okay? So that's one way to do it. And the beauty of doing it this way is that you're never in vacation mode and you're managing your schedule. You're scheduling out a block of time when you don't have to work, but you're not pausing your gigs. You're basically managing your schedule externally, which I think is a good idea regardless of what method you use. Make sure you're scheduling things externally so you can say, I've got this much work on this day. And if you're getting too busy, then you can actually crank your turnaround time up if it's not vacation time, but that's a whole other video for another time. Now, when you do this method, the turnaround time manipulation method, you're going to also need to do several things to make sure that you don't get in a pickle with turnaround times. The first thing you're going to need to do is turn that expedited turnaround time option off. Turn off extra fast turnaround time so people can no longer jump on there and order a 3-day turnaround gig in the middle of your vacation or your time off. You don't want that to happen because then you either have to cancel the order or jump in and do work when you weren't planning on doing work. You also need to add some language at the beginning of your gig description saying turnaround times are not normally this long. It's normally 7 days, but I'm preparing to be out of town. I'm preparing to take some time off for the holidays. I'm preparing for a little bit of vacation, and that's why it's cranked up. It will go back to normal on this date when I have myself back in the office, and this is when I return to normal mode. So make sure you say that. Back in the day, I would even shoot little addendums to my gig videos at the very beginning that would just be me saying, hey, I'm out of the office right now, or I'm preparing to be out of the office for these days of the year, days of the month, and I'll be back on this day normal. It's cranked up. It'll be back to normal on this day. Just letting people know what's going on, know that things are still active, but they have all the information about when you're there and when you're back. You could also put together something that I like to call a manual autoresponder, because when your gigs are still active, when you're still not in vacation mode, you're still going to need to maintain some kind of touch on Fiverr. And this, like I said, this has to do with your comfort level. Some people are comfortable with this, some people are not. I personally don't mind knowing that I have to check things once a day. It might take me 10 or 15 minutes to check my messages once a day and just simply send out what I call a manual autoresponder, meaning you can't automate an autoresponder in Fiverr like you can on email or something like that, but you can go into your inbox and just copy and paste a message or put together a quick response that says, hey, I'm out of the office right now. I will get back to you and your message on this date. Or if you want to spend 2 minutes responding, go ahead and do that. I don't recommend working when you're taking time off, but I think if you're wanting to get ahead, if you're wanting to really build something quickly and do really well, then there are times when you're going to have to take 10 minutes on your day off to check something. To me, that doesn't derail a day off. There are days when I have done nothing and checked nothing and had other arrangements. But there are also times when it's okay to spend 5 or 10 minutes checking that and sending messages saying, I'm still active, but I'm not in the office. I'll be back on this day. Send a manual autoresponder. And I think it's kind of cool because it lets people know what's going on and how it will work. So there you have it. That's my turnaround time manipulation method for taking time off. Like I said, I ran this for years on my own. I now have other team members that help me run this. We kind of trade off on things, so it's a little bit easier, but I know this can be done on your own, and I actually felt like it was a little bit more safe. I felt more comfortable. I felt better in the way I was able to communicate with my customers by keeping things on and simply cranking up and managing my schedule in this way. It just made me feel better because people could keep contacting contact with me. They could still message me. They could see that I was clearly not working right now, but that I hadn't disappeared. And sometimes vacation mode can scare people into thinking you've disappeared. And so find a method that works for you. Take your time off, enjoy your break, enjoy the downtime, enjoy the slow times. When things get slow naturally on Fiverr, enjoy it. Don't sit there and worry and say, oh gosh, they're crazy. This time of the year, they're slow for everyone. So things are going to slow down, and you need to find a method that allows you to enjoy your time off and also make sure that things are waiting on you as planned when you get back. So hopefully those tips will help you out to a better, more relaxed, and more enjoyable holiday season. All right, well, thank you for watching today's video, and I really do hope each and every one of you have a wonderful holiday season, whether you're celebrating Christmas or not. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Throw me a thumbs up if you like the content in this video, or even if you don't, throw me a thumbs up. And if you want to go deeper, you can join me on Patreon every single Friday for an exclusive video. We've got Q&A videos every single month coming up for January, where you can ask me your specific questions about your gigs, and I will answer them. I know, it's pretty awesome. Patreon.com/DJ Young. That is it for this week, folks. Until next time, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.